friends, myself Kenny Jain. I'm a student at Ahmedabad University and today I will introduce you the formal fallacy of denying the antecedent. Before I introduce you to the formal fallacy of denying the antecedent, what is the fallacy means? Fallacy in simple words is a mistaken belief, especially on unsound arguments, or we can say it is a misleading arguments. Denying the antecedent is the formal fallacy. But what is the formal fallacy? Formal fallacy are logical mistakes. Denying the antecedent fallacy is also called by another name, which is modus tollens. Reasoning in the form. Premise 1. If P, then Q. Premise 2. Not P. Conclusion, not Q. Let's convert these premises and conclusion into mathematical format. Let's see. Here P implies Q. Here in first premise we saw that if P then Q. So it is clearly showing that P implies Q and not P implies not Q. Here not P is the second premise and not Q is the conclusion. And here P represents antecedent and Q represents consequent. Thus, therefore, not P represents the negation of antecedent and not Q represents negation of consequent. If you opt for commerce, then you may pursue MBA. The antecedent statement of this conditional is you opt for commerce, and the consequent of this conditional is you may pursue MBA. But suppose someone made an argument with this conditional as its first premise. So let us see. Premise 1. If you opt for commerce, then you may pursue MBA. Premise 2. You don't opt for commerce. Conclusion, you won't pursue MBA. Here, the second premise, you don't opt for commerce, is denial of antecedent. Or, in other words, we can say negation of antecedent, as it is the opposite of antecedent. This premise does not tell us that only students who opt for commerce can only pursue MBA. So, even if the conditional statement is true, which is premise 1, if you opt for commerce, then you may pursue MBA. It cannot be inferred that the person who don't opt for commerce will not be able to pursue MBA. Hence, this argument results would be invalid, and according to denying an antecedent fallacy, the argument should be invalid. Hence, this example is suitable to it. A conditional could validly be used to argue for the truth of this consequent. We find this in the argument of a form called modus ponens. Now, let's try another example. If Activa breaks down, then we will be late for the movie. Here, Activa breaks down represents P, which is antecedent, and we will be late for the movie represents Q, which is consequent. Premise 2. The Activa won't break down. It represents not P because it is exactly the opposite of antecedent, which is the denial of antecedent or the negation of antecedent. Conclusion. So we won't be late for the movie. It represents not Q, exactly the opposite of consequent or the negation of consequent. So denying the antecedent fallacy, there also the premise 1 contains if P then Q, premise 2 contains if not P, conclusion contains not Q. So This example is suitable for denying the antecedent fallacy. But this whole argument is invalid, as there is not only the one reason that the Activa breaks down, then they will be late for the movie. There maybe can anything be the reason. So this argument is invalid. Let's try this example. Premise 1. I am in Ahmedabad, then I am in Gujarat. Here, I am in Ahmedabad represents antecedent of the conditional statement, which represents P, and I am in Gujarat represents consequent, which is Q. Premise 2. If I am not in Ahmedabad, then it becomes the denial of antecedent or negation of antecedent, because it is exactly the opposite of what I told, that I am in Ahmedabad. Conclusion. Therefore, I am not in Gujarat. It is also the opposite of consequent. So it is known as negative consequent or negation of consequent. So here also the rule of denying the antecedent fallacy behaves as P1 contains if P, then Q, P2 contains not P, conclusion contains not Q. But see, here read the argument carefully, that I am in Ahmedabad and then I am in Gujarat. I am not in Ahmedabad, therefore I am not in Gujarat. Yeah, this conclusion is invalid, as it definitely says that I am not in Ahmedabad doesn't mean that the person would not be in Gujarat only. That person could be in other places like Surat, Rajkot, and others. It's not necessary that person is not in Ahmedabad, so it would not be in Gujarat. Now, you all have been knowing what denying the antecedent fallacy is. So, now I am giving you some questions regarding a fallacy, and you have to just identify that whether this argument contains denying the antecedent fallacy or not. Got it? So, let's start. friends. Are you excited to know the answers? So here comes the answer. How much did you score out of 10? Do comment below your score and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.